You're on 100.3 FM at the Sounds of MacArthur. Greg Bryant with you for the Aussie Collection Show. It's now time for this week's guest for Acoustics in the Room, and this week we have Guy Walton and Sarah Sesamee. Welcome to you both.
Hello, Greg.
Hey.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
And so, Guy, what made you want to become a performer?
That's a good question. What made me... I think you're just born with it a little bit, Greg, I suppose. Something inside you says, oh, I want to get up and make a noise or, make a scene. I don't know what it is. But, I think you're just born with it. And I suppose you watch movies and you see people doing things, or you go out and you see performers perform and you think, oh, I'd like to be up there and not just kind of sitting there watching. So, yeah, I think things like that.
And what about you, Sarah?
I think it's a passion for music, a passion for storytelling. It's really nice when you meet like-minded people, such as Guy and I've met.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, my mother said she always called me Sarah Bernhardt when I was little. I think it's just inbred in me.
Bernhardt?
Yeah,
Who was that? Please
the old
explain.
Australian actor. Sarah Bernhardt.
Oh,
yeah.
right, gotcha.
And Guy, what made you want to play piano?
Probably my mum, I guess, Greg, to be honest. We, when I was young, we were living in England and we weren't doing any music then. This was when I was about 6 years old, and we were coming back to Australia, and we'd planned to, both my brother and I were going to start playing some music, and I just ended up with the piano and my brother ended up with the guitar. And I'm really glad I ended up with the piano, and my mum plays, she'd always played, and I think you just hear that stuff when you're young, when you're really young, and it sort of soaks into your system. So, yeah, and I think it's just a great instrument to be able to, especially for songwriting and accompanying people with. It's really nice.
I think it is a great instrument as well. And have you both taken any inspiration from any other artists?
Oh, look, I always think about that question and I think, how do you answer that?
Yeah.
I mean, I draw inspiration from just about everyone. I mean, often it's just the people I work with or play music with. I mean, there's always the big names and you listen to the recording artists and the famous people and all of that. And I guess I do get some inspiration from them. But, I mean, I draw inspiration just from working and singing with Sarah or, playing with a band I play with on Friday nights and the guys in that and stuff like that, So, yeah, huge, everywhere.
And Sarah, how did you become involved with Guy?
I actually run a talent agency, and I was looking for some people to be involved in A Place to Call Home. I've done a lot of casting with extras on there, and Guy just happened to answer an ad, and we found we had quite a few mutual friends, and then it just kind of went from there. He just asked me to come and sing today with him because he knew that I could sing, and
yeah,
that's pretty much how it started.
What about the other bit?
What other bit?
Remember, I was your husband?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you've got to tell that story.
That's how we met.
How could you forget that I was your husband? See, this is what women do to you. Sorry, that's very sexist, but anyway, I said it.
I was working on a documentary. I have friends that own Y Documentaries. It's a great documentary company in Wollongong, and that's how Guy and I actually met, was because he played my husband when I was the grieving mother.
Yeah,
wife.
I consoled you.
Yeah.
I attempted to.
That's right. How could I forget that?
It was a World War I documentary, Greg, and I have a bit of an interest in World War One, both just generally and also a musical kind of interest in it. And I ended up being asked to fill in on this particular day with this documentary, and Sarah did a sterling job. It was really
do
good.
too bad yourself either.
Yeah, well, I tried. I knew I was next to a professional, so I'd better step up.
Well, I do have to say this is a first for my show, having a keyboard in the studio, so it's very exciting.
Oh, good.
So I'd love to hear a live track now. What are you going to play first?
I'm going to play a song called Standing in a River. That's the one.
That's the one.
Sounds good. Take it away when you're ready.
Thanks, mate. the forest, leaves thrown to the ground. Breathless fascination wraps me all around. Thinking I see you, you're not quite there. Your dress is flowing, your smile is in the air. Thinking I see you, you're not quite there. Or am I around? You're calling in the air. I long to touch you, I long to know. Please let me come now and don't make me go. Standing in a river, looking out to sea. Why are you hiding? Why won't you come to me? Standing in a river, calling out your name. My mind is crumbling.
You're to blame. Walking in your shadow. Walking in your shadow. Hiding from your face, hiding from your face.
Your dress is flowing, your smile is in the air. Standing in a river, looking out to sea.
A river.
Why are you hiding? Why won't you come to me? Standing in a river, calling out your name.
Your name.
My mind is crumbling.
You're to blame.
Standing in a river, looking out to sea.
A river.
Why are you hiding? Why won't you come to me? Standing in a river, calling out your
Your
name.
name, you're to blame. Walking in your shadow. Walking in your shadow.
There ain't no place left to hide.
Hiding from your face.
What you talking about? Come on now.
Hiding from your face.
That was incredible. Well done.
Thank you, Greg.
So, Guy, when you're writing music, where does your inspiration come from?
Well, I think overwhelmingly, I'd have to say sort of tragedy and drama and I struggle with saying that because it sort of sounds a bit bleak. But look, I think that's where the stuff of life kind of is, and I suppose a part of my philosophy, and I think it's a fact that we know joy because we know tragedy, and so joy often grows out of tragedy. So, look, yes, a lot of my songs come from a sense of, sort of
dark place.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. I'll leave it there.
It's not so.
Oh well, I can't tell you. Oh yeah, I just like lollipops. That won't work.
And back in 2014, you wrote and produced the one-man show about the original Anzacs. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, certainly I can. It all started. I wrote quite some years ago a song called "The Soldier," which was a tribute to the Anzacs. The Anzacs generally, soldiers generally, but quite specifically also World War One. We're in the centenary of World War One. at the moment, which began, of course, in 1914 and finished in 2018. That'll be November next year. So I wrote a song called The Soldier, and I had it produced, and I recorded it with a brilliant musician and producer and recording engineer called John Ertler. And I was so thrilled with the outcome, with the recording of the song. And I thought, geez, I'd like to make a film clip, and I'd love to use some archival footage. So anyway, to try and cut a long story short, I ultimately found some archival footage and from the Australian War Memorial, and made a video, and that went really well. People liked that, and it's quite a few soldiers, current serving soldiers and older soldiers, commented and said they thought it was great. And I thought, well, I'd like to continue in that vein. I've always had a strong feeling for, conflict, you know, and I've been down to the Australian War Memorial any number of times, and I find that a very moving place. It's really quite profound and very powerful. And I suppose that taps into the sense of, you know, tragedy. It's a tragic thing, but there is such power, and there's so many things we can learn from it. So, anyway, that's a bit of a backstory. So, yes, did The Soldier and created that thing and wanted to continue that, and then thought, hey, I'll try and put a show together, which I did. And I'm probably, in some ways, I heard once that being naive is a good thing because you just launch into things, and that's kind of what I did. So I put a show together, which was basically an hour-long one-man show, which followed the path of the Anzacs, the original Anzacs, from sort of signing up in Australia when war was declared, and, you know, the enthusiasm that people felt, and then moving through that as they learnt, as we all have, and hopefully continue to learn that there's no future in war or killing people, etc., etc. So the show sort of reflects all of that, reflects the enthusiasm and the birth of Australia in a way as a nation, they say, at Gallipoli, and then moves into going to the Western Front and dealing with that. And the thing I also must say I always liked about The Soldier, the song, is that it speaks of a returned soldier who is, he's sort of sitting there reflecting, and you know, that happened to a lot of people. They came back and they had to live their lives, and many lived their lives very well, some didn't. So
I think you also had the unique experience when you worked on Hacksaw Ridge, from seeing it from another perspective again.
Yes, well, that was...
I mean, it was a movie set, but
yeah,
the reality of what was going on there and the training that you guys had to go through,
yeah,
and being in the trenches, and you got stood on a few times.
Well, yeah, so... Sarah's referring to a movie which she was obviously involved in with her talent agency, Hacksaw Ridge, which was the Mel Gibson film, which was filmed, you know, 15 minutes away. Well, the battle scenes were filmed 15 minutes away from my home. And so I became a US soldier. Now, this is World War II, not World War I, for those of you that haven't seen or heard of Hacksaw Ridge. I won't start going down that path because I'll never stop. But it was thrilling to be involved in that. And yes, as Sarah says, I kind of saw, in a way, well, not firsthand, and I wouldn't for one second suggest that I've had military experience or know even what that is like. But there was a guy there who was sort of my age, in his you know, early 20s. Sorry, that's a lie.
This is radio. No one can see you.
No, that's
fine.
right. Yeah, I've got no clothes on either. No, in his 40s. Anyway, back to the story. On Hacksaw Ridge, one of the other guys who was involved in it, he was a currently serving member of the Australian military, and at one stage he observed. He said to me, this was when we were out filming the sort of the battle scenes, and you know, they'd created this big dirt area and burnt trees and all that stuff, and we'd run around and the Japanese would be chasing us. And anyway, this guy who was the currently serving member of the Australian Army, my sort of age, he said to me, look, Guy, he said, this is kind of as real as it gets without being there, you know, which I thought was a fairly good, strong indication that this was an interesting experience. And the only other thing I'll say about that is, yes, for some reason, I I ended up playing a dead person a lot. So I did get a lot, yeah, like in more than one place. So I kind of, I don't know, call me Lazarus. I kept coming back to life until I was dead again. But a number of a few of the lead actors trod on me and, used various parts of my used various parts of my anatomy as a launching pad. So it was a great experience. So thank you, Sarah.
Oh, that's my pleasure.
So did you get to meet any of the actors from the film?
Oh, look.
I worked with Mel and
Sarah
Rachel
probably
Griffiths.
did.
I was actually in the vocal scene. I organised all of the singers for that. And so, I got to work with Mel, Rachel and Andrew Garfield as well. So that was lots of fun. Had to teach Rachel how to sing. Somewhere on Cyber Space is a selfie of me and her, even though she was laughing going, I'm not supposed to have my phone on set.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who you worked with.
Oh, look, I worked with the best of them.
So who stood on what part of your body?
They kept coming up and asking me for tips, and I said, look, learn your own lines with it. Having said I who forgot a line from that song. But anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, no, look, Greg, in answer to your question, I didn't officially meet any of them, but I did have a very brief thing. Mel Gibson nearly tried on me, and he said... because I was lying there, this wasn't during filming, it was sort of like a bit where
you
they
were
were...
having a nap.
Yeah, a nap in the 40-degree heat with my greens on. No, there was a moment where they were, they run through what they're going to do in the scene, so they might get someone to say, well, can you come and lie here and see if that's where we want someone when we're doing it? So, as per my sort of capacity to lie still, I was told, well, come and lie there. So I did. And Mel Gibson nearly tried on me, and he sort of looked at me one stage and he laughed and he said, oh, I thought you were a dummy. and he said, I was going to take you home. And... forever.
It was really great. It was really great.
Yeah.
Get down and talk to everybody in the trenches and direct
good.
them really well. And
And then I missed a fist pump apparently with the tall guy, Vince Vaughn.
Oh, Vince, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
You left him standing, waiting for...
Well, I don't know about standing, walking past,
Right.
but apparently I didn't even see it. I didn't know. I was probably off dreaming about something. And we were walking up into the battlefield, and apparently, I must have seen him. He was walking the other way past me, it's like a dirt road thing,
Yeah.
And I just kept on walking, and then someone said to me who was behind me, came up and said, you just missed a fist pump with Vince Vaughn. I said, what's a fist pump? Where does that go again? No, anyway, so look, it was a great thing to be involved with, and I must say, I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it as well. Very happy that we worked on something like that. It was just an incredible story. Not what you think it's going to be, because everyone focused on the war aspect of it.
I thought it was weird. Can we keep talking, Greg, or do you want me to shut up now?
No, we can keep talking.
Okay. That movie, I thought, was sort of in two parts. It was kind of like the first part, which dealt with Desmond Doss, who was the soldier that had highlighted the movie. It sort of dealt with his younger years, and then the second half was kind of... And so I hadn't seen anything of the first half at all, because I wasn't involved in any of that filming. And when I saw that for the first time, I found it really very moving, like Mr. Gibson,
such strong beliefs in what was right and what was wrong, and how that took him through that horrible period of life that he went through. And
it was just the filming of it, and the storytelling was so sensitively done, and then the second half was so kind of profoundly violent, I suppose you would say.
But it's a reality of history, isn't it?
But no, it was very good. It was a very good film.
And now, Guy, if anyone would like an album of one of your albums, what's the best way?
Right, well, everything that I've done to date in terms of I did a war album called A Muddy Waltz, which is based on the centenary of World War I, and also this Lonely Heart, we're doing a couple of songs from today. You can get that online, iTunes, Spotify, that's apparently the big thing now, streaming, all of that. Yeah, iTunes, Spotify. I think it's all on Google Play as well. So online, you can go to my website and find it that way. I have...
Hit you up on Facebook?
Yeah, hit me up on Facebook. I have physical copies of A Muddy Waltz, the album. At this stage, I haven't gone to print with any of the others because it all gets rather expensive. But, definitely, it's all online, Greg.
And I encourage everyone to go out and get a copy online.
Yeah, thank you.
And do you have any gigs that are coming up?
I do. I'm a bit surprised by this. I only found out last week. I'm actually going over to Manly and playing on the Corso in some very old fashionable boat shed bar.
Oh,
yeah. It's kind of my stepsister lives over that way, and anyway, she's organised a big fundraising night for a very good friend of hers who has a particularly kind of aggressive cancer. So anyway, I'm going over to be a part of that, which is good, and I do a regular Sunday lunchtime gig on the first Sunday of every month at Flower Power at the Dragonfly Cafe, which is a brilliant little cafe in Flower Power at Mount Annan. I'm there the first Sunday of every month for a few hours doing my thing. And yeah, a few other private gigs and different things happening.
So if they want to know, just check your website. Will there be your gigs on there?
No.
That's the right answer.
That wasn't the right answer, was it? I don't bother.
Maybe you should.
Yeah, maybe I should. Look, what else do I say? No, Facebook is there.
Facebook.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to go. And I'm very grateful to who is it? The MacArthur Gig Guide. They usually put up a post about the Sunday gigs or other public things that are happening. But just even flick me an email. Go to the website, flick me an email, and say, hey, what are you doing? And I'll be the first to send you back a 3,000.
He's very approachable.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah.
Well, I'd just like to thank you both for coming in. It's been an honour having you both in the studio.
Yeah, thank you, Greg, very much for having us.
And we're going to finish with another live one. What are you going to finish with?
I'm going to finish with a song called Lonely Heart, which is... I had an animation made for this song. I went to some effort, and that animation is on YouTube and with the song, and you can have a look and you might get an idea of what I'm talking about.
And good, take it away when you're ready.
Okay, thank you. There in your heart it can start. There is a sign all the time in your mind's eye. Don't know, no, don't you cry. All of our days in so many ways. Fear it can grow through all we know. It'll make you cry. All that you see with your eye. Hope cannot fade. Love will be made. There in your heart it will burn. Now I will live. Now I will give. Peace as in my lonely heart. Peace as in my lonely heart. Man with a gun, raising his son, preaching his word from all that he heard. It'll make you cry. All that you see with your eye. Man with a share, safe over there, sits at his screen and lives out his dream of a golden age, placing the world in a cage. Hope cannot fade, love will be made. There in your heart it will burn. Now I will live, now I will give. Peace as in my lonely heart. Peace as in my lonely heart.
will be made. There in your heart it will burn. Now I will live, now I will give.
Peace as my lonely heart.
Guy and Sarah, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much.